Hey fellow Vault Wearers, it's Angry Turtle and we are back on the public test server because we received a very surprise update, very surprising update, as the live version of this update is supposed to go live Tuesday, so not too much time left, and we are just now receiving one more update with some more changes. So those changes will come live on Tuesday. Assuming those are intended changes and will not be last second patched. A quick reminder, this is a public test server, so it's not guaranteed that everything will be exactly like that on the live game version, although usually it is. Now, what is going on? First, Blooded and all the prefixes are still multiplicative. So you can see a lot of damage whenever you use any blooded weapon. Like the laser 219, 117 without blooded effect. So clearly you can tell it is still multiplicative. But that was like that. So what's new? What's new? Look at this shotgun. It is prime, and now it does 65% bonus damage to Scourge, not 35. Some weapons still have 35, like for example Gatling Laser, it's still 35% damage to Scourge with Prime Receiver. I don't know if that's intended or not, but we are getting more damage to Scourge with Prime across almost all weapons. Shotguns, rifles, bows, yeah, bows are included, so more damage. The blooded multiplicative, more damage again. Explosive weapons generally feel like they are doing more damage regardless if they blooded or not. So the damage is going up, and a lot of it most likely intentional, but I don't know if all. For example, another little thing that changed, where is it? My Gamma Gun. If I check this Gamma Gun, now the radiation damage is going up with my perks and damage that I have. But in practice, it is not. I was trying to use it to do self-rad damage, and if I shoot, it's still showing the same amount and it still feels about the same. So I'm not so sure if the Gamma Gun is actually doing more radiation damage or not. But it does apply across the board to weapons with dot damage. So now my Kabloom has 120 poison damage and not 50 over 10 seconds. The bad news here is I was trying to test it and all the dot effects are still incredibly weak. I don't know if it's just we're supposed to feel better with higher damage number on the weapon card. It still does like nothing. But going from nothing to nothing boosted by 120%, still about nothing. Unfortunately, however much you will boost nothing, it's still nothing. That's the problem. That's the problem with all the dot effects, but because it's going up and they are doing something with it, I do expect that maybe at some point there is a plan to rebalance all the dot effects to be useful. Hopefully. Now, let's cover some bad news. Some bad news, as I'm telling you a lot of probably good news, unless you hate Blooded, then that's a bad news for you, that Blooded will dominate again. Now, Chems. Chem stacking, especially for boss fight. You probably know that we stack Overdrive and Psychotats using incorrect order. So Overdrive first, then Psychotats, and I should have both bonuses. The crit damage should stay, and Psychotats damage bonus should appear next to it. It is not like that anymore. You cannot stack them. You cannot stack Chems. You cannot stack Chems. Only one will work. But don't be too afraid about Stimpack spamming, and this still works exactly the same. You just cannot have two different Chems active at the same time. A similar thing applies to melee buffs. That's why those were reworked. You can only have one melee buff at a time, but I mentioned that before. Now, chems are added on top, Chems cannot stack anymore either. So that is big. And lastly, it does feel like explosive weapons perform way better. Okay, I have one example here. The overkill. I was using that, and critical with the overkill was consistently killing a Scourge Beast. And if I use the overkill with a swap to my bloodied Gauss shotgun, like firing the overkill critical and before it hits, swapping to this Gauss shotgun, I was able to do 5k damage with each projectile, which is 10k damage total, what is enough to take down any legendary Scourge Beast. So that's crazy high that we can boost now those explosives, which makes them incredibly fun. So I cannot complain. Those explosives will be so fun to use if that's intended change. I don't know if that's intended or not. It still does work, like boosting with bloodied weapons. Still does works with grenades, so I can have a shotgun and then my Nuka grenade is, as you can see, clearly boosted a lot. With multiplicative bloodied, having 1800 damage with a Nuka grenade. Wow, that really kills. That really kills everything. Everything in blast radius. I'm really happy about that for my initial score grind when the next season hit. I do hope nothing will be changed, as I'm all for using that. Here is the compound bow that I crafted. Blooded works great now, as Blooded is multiplicative, so compound bow like this one can one-hit level 100 super mutants, which is nice. It's nice for underperforming weapons. It's a little bit overpowered for weapons that were already performing great, and even this Gauss shotgun alone, look at the damage numbers. 194 by 8. So that's like 1.5k damage per hit with extra damage to Scorched. That's a lot. That's a lot. As well about the Gauss shotgun jamming, it seems like it was improved. It still jams, but now it can be unjammed by just firing one more bullet, which is way easier than doing anything else. So before we needed to manually bash, now you just fire once and it's unjammed. So improvement, I would say improvement. It's not who knows how much, but it is an improvement after all. So I'm happy with this change. I'm happy with this change. All the weapons are still great. So there is no nerfs to weapons. There are buffs. There are buffs to weapons. I was testing the cryo. I heard some news that it will be nerfed. It doesn't feel like it. It was performing great when I use it, so doesn't feel like any nerf for cryo is coming. Unless I'm totally missing something. I don't feel any nerf. It's killing easily with snowballs. So I don't feel the nerf to the cryo at all. It still works. All the weapons works. They're just more powerful, not less. You can see those grenades with blooded weapons. Like even floater flamer grenade can kill stuff now. 800 damage over 4 seconds because that's boosted too. So like dot is boosted. Okay, I can do last. Let's see if that will work on me too. And yep, absolutely devastation. The dot is improved. The dot is improved. Okay, let me heal. The lastly, because you can see the dot on grenades the most. It used to be fixed. Yeah, like you were able to boost. You were able to boost in case of grenades the first damage, but not the damage over time. Now, damage over time is boosted too. So, let me heal my rats. Maybe I have Nuka Grape. I do. Why it's not working? Oh, it's working. More healing. Nuka Grape, Radaways, Stimpaks, now the grenade. Go. Wow, yeah. The dot is boosted. I'm really taking damage. And I do have 25 fire resistance, and I do have fireproof. So it would be way worse without fire resistance on this power armor. It would be way worse. I don't know if I have any more grenades. What if I exit power armor? Okay, no power armor. No fire resist. One more fire grenade. Yeah, you can see my health is melting way faster now. I can barely out-heal it with a stim, so... Yes, dot damage, visibly boosted on grenades and weapons. I wish it would be just better on weapons, as that is, from this grenade, that was 800 dot. I think I ran out of those grenades. So, that's how much dot you need to feel it on yourself and enemies. And that being said, this is everything for this update. Let me know what you think. As always, I will be checking the comments section. And see you all in the next one.